Today, we're headed north of the border to Manitoba, Canada. Just north of North Dakota and about 9 miles from the U.S. border sits E2 Trucking and Red River Grain. This Canadian operation moves millions of bushels in the United States every year. On this visit, we get to see a unique way they handle corn storage and how they operate Super B trailers to maximize efficiency and payload across long hauls. But what makes this story even more powerful is Evan's journey. Like many in agriculture and trucking, his path to entrepreneurship was not overnight. It was built through risk, hard decisions, and stepping into the unknown. At the center of it all is his faith, which drives how he leads, how he treats people, and how they run their business every single day. This is more than trucking. This is purpose, stewardship, and building something that lasts. So I know you got two separate companies. As far as positions, are you over both, or how does that work, like company-wise, structure-wise?
That speaks to our accountability chart, and John can...
Yeah, so our accountability chart is Evan's a visionary, president, owner. I'm integrator is what we call it, chief general manager, and I oversee the day-to-day operations of both, Red River Grain and E2. Evan is still somewhat involved in the day-to-day. So then there's Brian Kaler, who you guys met, E2 operations manager. There's Melissa, who's the finance manager over both companies. And then there's Spencer, who's the Red River Grain operations manager. Those are my right-hand people and tremendous people to work with. But they make it happen for me, as I try to do for Evan.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep. That's the structure.
Yeah, perfect.
Sure, let's go out.
So, I mean, in this little corner, how many businesses are here? There's...
That's a good question. So this is an ag park. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 businesses today.
Okay.
It's the municipality, you call them counties, we call them municipalities, designated this as an ag park a number of years ago. It's kind of like a family.
I like that.
1, 2, 3, 4 of us that would have gone to school together, all like very close in age, call it 45 to 50. So it's more than just neighbors, and that's been a huge advantage. We've been the recipients of help. I mean, it's unbelievable what our neighbors have bailed us out of a few times, and we want to do that for them when we get the chance.
So you're almost not really competing against any of these neighbors per se.
No, not at all.
But even...
Not in the... the oat mill will buy oats. We buy a little bit of oats. Most of what we buy goes to them. It's a good relationship. They hire E2 to do a bunch of freight. There's so many ways for us to work together here and for us to help each other. And we do. We do and they do for us in a big way. So.
Cool.
So anyway, this is our repair shop. It's 40 by 80. There's 3 full-time mechanics and a manager in that shop. Probably 5 years now that we've been actively running a repair shop. And I would say that has been the single most valuable addition to E2 Trucking.
It saves us money and it helps our trucks' efficiency.
Trucks on the road more, not breaking down, plus just the savings versus another shop working on.
Right. We have had a lot less trucks down the road being broke down. Right. That's number one. The other thing is the amount of times these guys or our truck driver has an issue, that same day that truck is up and running. Whereas other days it would be 3 days, 4 days, right?
Yeah, you're at the mercy of shop.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the shop has just, we went from a trucking company that, all we did was put out fires. And after we had our own shop, that stopped. And, huge help. There's one of the,
one of your trucks here?
That's what we call one of the Red River Grain trucks, yeah.
Super B, yep.
Yeah, so that's a Super B. He'll do a lot of local southern Manitoba pickups and deliveries for Red River Grain. We'll go and see Johnny load. I'm glad we get this opportunity because just what's happening here, it's just a truck loading, but there's a lot of experience and skill that goes into doing it right. and if he overloads, we're liable to get a ticket.
Yep.
He underloads, well, our cost per ton that we're shipping goes up. But he's gonna, nail it. Depending on which mill he's going to, he'll load the correct amount. That'll be dictated by the roads that he travels to get to that mill. So if they're RTAC roads, that there's no restrictions on them, he'll load roughly 43 to 44 tons. So you take 44 times 2.2.
Yep.
There's your pounds.
It seems like a pretty quick process from him scale coming around.
Yeah, we wouldn't want him taking more than 20 minutes to get loaded and gone. And we'd love to improve that too. The conveyor helps. There's pretty good capacity on that conveyor. We'll get him loaded in, 10 minutes or so. Knowing Johnny though, he may well be preloading for tomorrow morning. He's the kind of guy that starts his day at 4 in the morning. And
Super early.
yeah, which is, for local guys, that's a must because the mills don't have big dumping capacity, so there'll be lineups. By now, they're lined up 3-4 trucks deep, and a guy like him, he'll be at the mill at 5 in the morning. He'll get that load dumped. We've got a satellite elevator 40 miles north. He'll bounce through there, load, get to the mill, get unloaded, maybe do another one, and then his day is done. He hasn't spent half of it sitting in line. So you have the skill of just doing the job, which is significant. You have the gumption to get out of bed at 3:30 or 4 in the morning, which is significant. Like, those guys need to be celebrated, not just, no, that's a truck driver. It's hard work and a lot of skill that's involved in operating that piece of equipment.
These are your grain bags?
Yes, we've got.
I've seen that more and more around here. Is it getting very
Well,
popular?
we had a huge crop this year, so everybody ran out of space. I think we filled 17 of them this fall. Yeah, all with corn. Yeah. These are the two of the shortest bags we had. We happened to have two 250-foot bags, and it was so wet this fall we had to stop bagging on the field because the bagger didn't work and it was just making a mess.
Oh man.
So we realized, hey, we got firm ground here. So we threw the 250s on and filled those two and waited.
So each one of these has how many bushels in it?
The 250s, I think these guys will have like 12,000 each. Most of the bags that we filled are either 350 or 400-foot bags, and there we'll push like 20,000.
Well, there's some bags up there too, I saw, or is that
Yeah, most of our bags are
up there
half
on the
mile
left?
down
Yeah,
the road.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, that's another, kind of the way the neighborhood works. That's a neighboring farmer that just said, go ahead, put bags on my ground,
Oh, nice.
And that's a huge help to us. So the two big bins are 187,000 bushel bins. They're 60-foot diameter, 19 rings tall. The determination on the size of the bin was, the engineer said that's as big a bin as you can build on this ground without putting piers underneath it. So
if you go to expand more bins, you have to do it on another site, right? Or do you have room here for?
we figured we have room for 3 million bushels on
Still
this
here?
yard. Yeah, but that would mean getting rid of our hoppers. That means 1, 2, 3 more of these 190s,
Right
and
here.
then on the south row, I think there we would go with the 48-foot diameter like we have, so we'd have a straight line, but then 100,000s. Anyway, we have lots of room to build more space. Yeah, it's just we'll do it as time and finances allow. The farmers are growing the bushels. Yeah, it'll happen. It's just one bin at a time.
How do you figure out the math on adding more storage or not? Like, you can always be like, hey, we're going to add more bins and hopefully get them filled. But what dictates adding more storage,
Right.
more bin space?
Well, it's a bad time to ask that question because we're right at the end of harvest and we're all exhausted from filling bags. So you're more biased to think, boy, we need to build bins, right? But that's emotionally, and you got to be careful about making decisions emotionally.
Because these bins aren't cheap. I mean,
No,
the
no,
return
they're
on
not.
investment.
It has to be there. Yeah. But the proper answer to that question is basis appreciation.
Yep.
And can we extract enough basis appreciation out of the market through the year to warrant the investment? You're going to get a different answer every year on something like that. And we're in an interesting market here because Manitoba historically has been a corn deficit region. We got lots of hogs in Manitoba and not enough corn to feed those hogs. So the corn, our backstop was North Dakota, Minnesota corn coming up in trucks. But we're growing more and more corn every year, and our yields are just right here locally. We had a number of guys that on a quarter section averaged over 200 bushels an acre, and farm averages in the 190 range. So that'll be a record for that farm, but that's like the third year that we've set a record. So everybody's pretty excited about growing corn, and we're doing a real good job of it. So our corn deficit is decreasing really quickly. So if your deficit is decreasing, the expectation for basis appreciation has to be tempered too. And that's what I just said is what's going to determine whether we're building a bin or not. So like I say, we live at the intersection of supply and demand, and that's kind of a big picture piece of that consideration. But then there's the next layer is locally. Well, we've had a number of our customers come to us since their harvest has ended in the last 2 weeks and say, can you handle it if we double our corn acres? So that means going from, let's say, 300 acres to 600 acres of corn. Well, you can only say yes to that for so long, and you're going to get buried. Operationally, we can only handle so many bushels. Mm-hmm. So then you have to manage that. And all of those things have to be reflected in the basis. And that trickles back to the price to the farmer. So, we're really just a very small piece in that consideration, but I think the service that we're providing is playing a big part of the farmer's decision. For those farms to even consider doubling their corn acres, if it wasn't for Red River Grain, they wouldn't even think about it.
I have to ask, because you showed me a picture of your family, like you would have had a lot of kids, several kids really young when you started this. That's a pretty gutsy, bold move to go out and try to start something. What was the wife's reaction when you told her this?
When I got married, a few of my friends played the Tom Petty song, "Even the Losers Get Lucky Sometimes," at my wedding. And I like to say none of us had any idea how right they were. What God did for me in giving me the wife that he did, I don't have a word for that, right? And it's even bigger because, she came from an 8-to-5 family and, had no experience with entrepreneurs. So what she learned and put up with and helped me struggle through, and then at the same time having 6 babies. I don't mind admitting that I did too much. And I look back on some of those years and...
Too much early on?
Well, from a business perspective, no, but it took too much of my emotional, psychological energy. And if it takes too much, it's robbing it from somewhere else. And I was distracted at home. When I was there, I was distracted. And that's tough to look back on and see. I'm thankful that I've realized it in my early 40s, and God's given me time to realize it and try and figure out what to do about it. I'm very thankful for that. But the business investment and the things that we did from a practical perspective, I don't second guess at all. The sooner you can get started on the road that you're going to go down, go. Anything in life, marriage included. Be conscious of the balance in it. Yeah. I think that's the trick.
I think all of us as business owners, entrepreneurs, startups, because when you started saying that, I started feeling guilt. Like I had the same thing because I knew it. And
right.
I mean, it is what it is. But like early on, like, man, it was hard to shut it off
Right.
and hard
Absolutely.
to like not focus on it because trying to build and, you can justify in your head, I'm doing this for the family, but also like you're robbing that time with the family that they need you right now. So
Exactly, and it's just the way it is. There are a few things I would like to change. I can't, but I can from today forward, and so I will.
yeah, and we all have the same story.
It's eerily similar.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's crazy.
But that's where the people side of it, like, we're so fortunate to have the people employed in the business that we do that have latched on to the structure that EOS helped us with, latched onto the structure, and the idea of it, a big idea of it, is to take things away from Evan. And John's led that, and pretty much to a man or to a girl, they've adopted that, and when they've seen something that they can take, they took, and that has then freed up just the headspace to start to think about, oh, what am I doing here? And in most cases, whatever it was that I was doing that was ending up as a distraction to me, that other person was probably better at it than I was.
Yeah,
And so the sooner I could just let them go with it, the better, the business would be, they would be, I would be. Like, it really could be a win-win.
yeah. There was just a couple years ago, it was in prayer, but I heard I've never heard God's voice, but it was just this Holy Spirit saying, let go. But it allowed me to be like, man, I'm just trying to hold on and do so much that like God, you're not meant to do that.
Right, and that, you'll get me started on something when you say that. The beginning of 25, we went through the tariff stuff, and that was what God used for me to realize how much of a control freak I am. And I would have told you that I'm not, but it took that and something that was so far out of my control that could have had a significantly detrimental, significantly negative effect on our business, and for me to just have to sit and wait and see what happened, and recognize that this is not in my control, and a whole bunch of things that I've let myself believe the illusion that they are in my control. I had to recognize a whole bunch of that was not true.
Would you ever dream that this would have been happening 10 years ago?
No.
You'd be sitting here?
No. I'm good at dreaming, but I wouldn't have dreamt this. Not even close. It also puts this in perspective. The assets and all the stuff that you can add up on a balance sheet, it's just numbers. And that's not what I want to strive to build to pass on. If one of the kids is interested, well, that's great. But I want to pass on the heritage that has been passed on to me, and that really had very little to do with stuff.
Yeah. I love how faith is important to you and your family. Like, we talked about that a lot. Love that, just noticing prayer at the lunch table. Man, it seems like you've leaned heavily on faith and Lord.
That's that inheritance, though. That's what I saw. If I hadn't seen that,
Yeah.
who knows, right? So you could say, I'm just doing what I saw. Yeah, that's right. But I saw it to be real. And I think that's what caught my attention, because my interest is in reality. And you can only fake it for so long. And the pressures of the pathway, whatever they might be, are gonna expose that.
Yeah.
And if you can have some measure of faith, it was a big help this past spring and in some of the stresses that we faced, like I mentioned. I had to get to where I accepted the fact that I'm not in control, and then took it one more step to where I can honestly say I don't want to be. And that was growth for me. If I'm honest, I had wanted to be, but I don't today. Really don't. And I hope it stays that way. That you say those things, you learn those things, but you don't you don't stand still in those things. You forget them, you might have to learn it again. I'm very aware of that. I don't want to have to learn that one again.
We forget easily as humans.
Yes. We get distracted with all the, the day-to-day. It can pile up and get distracting.
Yeah. Well, this has been incredible tour, and man, thanks for inviting us up here to, just to see what the Lord has built with you, and man, you've been a great steward, and what you've done to even bless others, and just even, I think what this people don't realize, and it's hard, we have 70 plus employees at our company, but like you're blessing other people, and the people that you get to work with, they get to watch you, and you get to bring up the next leaders in agriculture, which is awesome. And again, I never say that about myself, but it's something that I see other companies, and it's cool to see.
John and I were talking just last week, and he mentioned, a ministry, his ministry would be, being a mentor to the young people in the business. And that is one of the most noble things that I think you can find. Like, I'm so proud of that.
Yeah.
Of him for recognizing that. And just, if I can have something to do with fostering that sort of thing, then I'm just going to get out of the way and let it happen.
I think I love, mission fields and people that go in different fields of whatever, ministry, faith, and all that. But man, this is our mission work right here.
We don't have to go anywhere.
We don't have to go anywhere.
No,
God's put it right in front of us. Like, here's your mission field.
But this, I think, can be the hardest one too.
Yeah, that's true.
But to see that, I'm glad that the people around me are seeing that, and that was a reminder to me that, oh yeah, that's right here, and the people that we're working with every day.
Yeah.
If we can be an influence there, then that's where we want to start, and in many ways that's all we need.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for this. This has been an honor.
Thanks, Jared.
Great to finally meet you. I say this to everyone, and I don't ever take it for granted. Thank you for being a member on BulkLoads and using our services.
Welcome.
And
You're welcome.
we don't ever want to take for granted that people early on like you that signed up with us when we were still trying to grow our platform, and you were with us in our humble beginnings. So, man, thank you so much for that. God
Thank
bless
you for making the trek.
Yeah.
It's not everybody that comes to Manitoba in November.
This is my favorite part of the job right here. So.
Good.